student, in the previous video of the chapter 3rd Economics, Poverty and Challenge, we know what is a poverty and how a person is considered to be poor. The government has launched several welfare schemes for the poor, and to ensure these benefits reach to the correct person or not, this is important to have a way to identify them. And the poverty line is a common way to identify the poor. It is a measure based on income and consumption by the person. The concept of the poverty line is based on the fact that a person have minimum level of income that satisfy his basic needs like food, clothes, education, healthcare and clean drinking water. When the income and the consumptions below the minimum level, the person is considered to be poor. Poverty exists in all countries in the world. However, the minimum level of requirement is determined by different way in different countries. In a rich country, a person may be considered too poor to not owning a vehicle or a house. But a developing country, a person not having 2 meals in a day considered to be poor. And why determine the poverty line in India? A minimum level of food requirement, clothing, footwear, fuel and light, education and medical requirement are determined for subsistence. And food consists many different types of the items. So, how can we decide what is minimum requirement of food? This is done by taking a minimum calories requirement into considerations. In India, 2400 calories per person per day in rural areas and 2100 calories per person per day in urban areas accepted the average calories requirement. The different calories level of a rural and urban area is different because the rural areas the people do much physical work, so they need more calories. The cost of each item of minimum level is added up to find the minimum income is required by a person to survive. According to 2014, the poverty line for a person was fixed at rupees 972 in the rural areas and rupees 1472 in the urban areas. Poverty line income is fixed by per person. And to find the income of the family, this income is multiplied by the number of family members. And according to the 2014, a family of the 5 members living in rural areas and earning less than about 4,660 rupees per month will be below the poverty line. And similarly, a family in the urban areas would need a minimum of rupees 7,360 rupees per month to meet their basic requirements. The poverty line is estimated periodically, means after every 5 years, by conducting sample surveys, and these surveys are carried out by the National Sample Survey Organization (NSSO). However, for making comparison between developing countries, many international organizations like the World Bank use a uniform standard for the poverty lines. And according to the World Bank, the poverty line is at a minimum availability of the dollar 1.90 per day. And these has been substantial decline in the poverty ratio in India since 1993. And it is declined from the 45% to in the 2011 to 12 years to 22%. If the trend continues, people below poverty line may come down to less than 20% in the next few years. The proportion of people below poverty line is also not same for all social groups and economic categories in India. Social groups which are most vulnerable to poverty are scheduled caste and the scheduled tribes. And among the economic group, the most vulnerable groups are the rural agriculture landless labor and the urban casual laborers. 32.9 casual workers in urban areas are below poverty line, and about 40% of landless agriculture workers and 31.5% scheduled caste are also poor. On an average, 45.3 out of 100 people below poverty line belonging to the scheduled tribes in the rural areas. And And some recent studies have shown that except for the scheduled tribes, all the other three groups like scheduled caste, rural agriculture laborers, and the urban casual laborers have seen a decline in the poverties. Apart from these social groups, there is also inequality of income within a family. In poor families, all suffer, but some suffer more than others. Women, elderly people, and a female child are systematically denied equal access to resources available to the family. Therefore, women, children, and old people are poorest of the poor. Let it be clear by a story. Sivaraman lives in a small village in Tamil Nadu. Sivaraman was a cobbler by caste and now works as an agricultural labor for rupees 50 per day. But that is only for 5 to 6 months in a year. At the other times, he does odd job in the town. His wife Shashikala too works with him, but she is paid rupees 25 per day for the same work that Sivaraman does. There are eight members in the family. Sivaraman's 65 years old widow mother is ill, and he has also a 25-year-old unmarried sister and 4 children aged between 1 year to 16 years. 3 of them are girls. The youngest is a son, and none of the girls go to school because buying notebooks and other things for school going girls is a luxury he cannot afford. In life, his sister and the older daughters take care of the household, and Sivaraman plans to send his son to school when he comes of age. His unmarried sister does not get along with his wife. Shashikala finds her a burden, but Sivaraman can't find a suitable groom due to the lack of the money. Although the family has difficulty in arranging 2 meals a day, Sivaraman manages to buy milk once in a while, but only for his son. So this story shows the vulnerability of a rural landless scheduled caste persons. In the next video, we will discuss about the interstate disparity of the poverty and the causes of the poverty. Topic related these questions you have to do on your fair note.